So here's part 2 on how to control the brain of your prospect so you can control the sale. Years ago, 2000 actually, I was a recruiter for a minute. And we were working with veterans leaving the service, and we would place them in different companies. And so I called on the companies to get them to attend the conferences. And I sat in on a session. This guy from Rubbermaid came in. And so they would give a briefing the night before the interviews were to take place. And this guy, I think he was an Army Ranger, a big barrel-chested dude. And I remember he came in and he said, "I am looking for someone with room-filling presence." Okay, so this was early 2000. So I was, 29, turning 30. I'd spent 9 years in the Air Force, played football, and I understood exactly what he meant when he said it, but I'd never really heard that before. And at that point, I'd been in sales 2.5, 3 years, not quite 3 years, and had done pretty good in sales. And so hearing that, I was like, wow, all right. And then over the years, I came to understand kind of what it means to be confident, right? Confident, not cocky, but to understand the value that you bring, to see yourself as a peer to the prospect that you're meeting with, right? And I don't care who you're meeting with, Jeff Bezos, right? Elon Musk, whatever. If you've gotten into that meeting honestly, right, then somebody on their team, maybe you reach them, somebody sees the value you bring and thought it would be worthwhile to meet. So granted, they may be smarter, more intelligent, more well-versed in a broad array of topics, but for some reason, right, they see you as an expert in your field. So that's why I say see yourself as their peer, because you may even be their superior in that subject, right, and why you've been brought in. The first product I ever created when I started the Sales Whisperer was called the 7 Deadly Sins of Selling. It was a lead magnet and still runs to this day. I've created that in like 2008, somewhere around there. I turned it into a talk. I then recorded it. It became a CD back in the day before MP3s were as widely available as they are. It's still a report that I give away, and I'll probably turn it into a little booklet because it's upwards of 80 pages now. But number 2 in the 7 Deadly Sins of Selling is equating selling with begging. And I see this a lot. I see salespeople like roll over, right, and show their belly. I literally got the name The Sales Whisperer from watching The Dog Whisperer. And he talks about, dogs and people being pack animals. And you hear the alpha, you're the alpha male, and whatever. I mean, there's some validity to that, but that is so overplayed, overused. But when 2 or more people meet, a sale is made every time. And even if it's just your best friend and y'all are deciding where to go for lunch, okay, a sale is made. There's always selling, persuasion, negotiation going on, communication, miscommunication. So if you want to control the brain and control the pace of any meeting with any prospect, you have to exude confidence. You have to show that you belong in that room. You have to have that room-filling presence. It needs to be clear to you and everyone in that room that you're in charge. That's easier said than done, right? When you're meeting with hard-charging alpha males and females, imagine you're on Shark Tank, all those sharks, those are alphas. How do you put them in, how do you get them to accept being second place? Okay, and look, it happens. You watch that Shark Tank, somebody comes in with a compelling message, a compelling offer, an extremely good opportunity. Those sharks will fight over there. So yeah, he's good, but here's why you should pick me. I'm better at this. They flip the script, right? Which, by the way, is a free offer I have, so I'll link to that as well. But you have to flip the script. When you act like every other salesperson, when you look like them, act like them, speak like them, the only way the prospect can differentiate you from your prospects is on price. And it's a race to the bottom. Okay, so go back and check out video number 1. Get my daily email, and you'll get all of these coming to you every day. Watch this one. Stay tuned. I got 2 more coming. I want to keep these short and sweet. But you've got to understand the value you bring. You are not there to get beaten up by your prospects. And look, they will use you to get free education, free training, free consulting. They will use you to as a bid to get their established vendor to sharpen their pencil. You've got to understand the role that you play, and are you being played? And then you've got to take control. You got to flip that script. Otherwise, you're going to win probably 20 to 25% of the deals you run across. When in reality, you could win with a small change. You could double that number. You can and could and should win at least half of the deals you run across just by being genuine, paying attention, listening, okay? If you can master all four of these and truly take command, then you could win 70, 80, 90% of the deals you run across if they're true deals. Okay, it's not like you're going to close 90% of the people you meet, but our job in sales is not to sell, it is to prospect. And when we prospect, we are disqualifying prospects. We are sorting, sifting, and separating. I'm not chasing them. I'm making them raise their hand and say, show me why you're different. Show me your pain. Where does it hurt? And if you're not a level 9 or a 10, do you even need my help? Why are we talking? Right? I am an ER doc. You have a little bobo. You skinned your knee. Don't take up that valuable seat. I'm looking for the bleeding necks. Okay, so sort, sift, and separate. I'll make another video on the number one sin of selling and the number one sin of marketing. Okay, they're similar yet different. But for now, just understand you've got to have that room filling presence. You've got to control the pace. You've got to dictate the terms. You have to be able to deflect, redirect, counter the attacks that the prospects may throw at you. And I've mentioned this before, but if you watch the movie, is it The Big Short? Yeah, The Big Short with Christian Bale and Carol. I'm getting old. I'm a grandfather. The Evan Almighty guy and from The Office, right? I'm drawing a blank. Steve Carroll. But he flies down to Florida with some of his guys, and they look around. They're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. So he calls back to the office, and he has this guy who's just tough. I'll just keep it clean. He's tough, and he calls, I think it's Ryan Gosling. And Ryan's at the gym. He takes the call, and the guy that Steve Carroll tells, hey, place the order, like a $50 million order. And so the guy goes to Ryan. He says, how are you screwing me, right? Softer terms. And Ryan lays out how this is going down, okay? So even when that prospect is ready to buy, they may, just as a last-ditch effort, poke you, jab you, to test you, to see, like, is this really, really real? Like, for real, for real? So you have to understand that's part of the game. You've got to be able to take it, and you've got to be able to dish it back. But you've got to be able to read the room so you understand who can you dish it out to and at what level, what intensity. Decision makers do not mind. Not only do they do not mind, they kind of want, demand, expect some give and take, some ball busting. Okay, so you've got to have the confidence. Again, you got to understand the value that you bring, dish it back to them, look them in the eye, and stand your ground. Zig Ziglar has said it 1,000,000 times that the selling is a transference of a feeling, and that feeling is confidence. Do you know that you have the authority, the right to be there? When you do, things fall into place. Sales get quite easy. Thanks for watching. I'll go sell something.